Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lombardozzi with Kempsville Chiropractic in Virginia Beach, and our goal today is to give you a great understanding on exactly what you need to be doing to strengthen and stabilize your spine and prevent injuries. I've been practicing for 17 years, and over the last 17 years I've had the opportunity to see many athletes as well as treat many people for different types of injuries, as well as seeing people for wellness and prevention. And one thing I've found over the years, especially working with firefighters, is there's a lot of things that you do on a regular basis that are kind of awkward. So when you're lifting ladders, there's different levers that come into, different lever systems that come into place where your spine has to be stabilized, as well as when you're pulling hoses. So today, one of the things we're going to go over for the first series are exactly which exercises you need to be doing to strengthen and stabilize your spine and prevent injuries. We've all known and we've all seen many people who are very strong, many bodybuilders that even though they look big on the outside, they still run into many injuries because their smaller muscles along their spine are not strengthened and stabilized. So today we're going to be going through a series of exercises which are going to give you a better understanding on exactly what you have to be doing to strengthen and stabilize these exercises. So why I'm here today, and one of my goals today, is to give you an understanding of the anatomy and physiology of your core, the muscles that attach to the core, and exactly which exercises and which stretches you need to be doing to properly strengthen, stabilize your spine, and help prevent injuries as you work on a daily basis. To review some of the muscles that attach into your core and some of the core muscles themselves, to go through some of these, first of all, you have the quadricep muscles, the muscles that come up along the front. Your quadriceps come up and actually attach into your pelvis and stabilize your pelvis. The second group of muscles would be the hamstring muscles. The hamstring muscles come up along the back and attach into your ischial tuberosity, which is the lower back part of the pelvis there too. That's the bone that you sit on. You also have the abdominal muscles. The abdominal muscles come down and attach into your pubic symphysis, which is the front part of your pelvis, as well as you have some of the bigger muscles that come down, your rectus spinae muscles and muscles along the spine that come down and attach into your pelvis too. Above and beyond the large muscles that are in the lower back, you also have smaller involuntary intrinsic muscles. These are small muscles which are actually controlled by your brain. The back lower part of the brain here is called your cerebellum, and your cerebellum sends neurological impulses down through the vestibulospinal tract. That's a tract that comes down along your spinal cord and goes to the small muscles along your spine. So as we go through some of these exercises today, some of these exercises are going to include different types of proprioceptive or balance types of exercises that help to strengthen and stabilize some of these small muscles along your core. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a stretch for the quadricep. And we're going to do both an active and a static stretch. So we're going to start with static, where Ulysses here is going to take his leg. And the first thing you're going to notice is that he's not holding on to anything because we're trying to incorporate balance. And when we incorporate balance into an exercise, it allows the back part of his brain, being the cerebellum, to send electrical impulses down into the small muscles of the spine, which help to stabilize the spine. So first, as you can see, Ulysses is pulling his leg back. And as he pulls his leg back, it's stretching both the quadricep. And then as he comes back a little bit further, he's going to incorporate and start to stretch out the psoas muscle, which is one of the hip flexors, which is a big factor when people get injured. A lot of times they don't have flexibility of their psoas muscle. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate more of an active kind of stretch. Go ahead, Ulysses, and bring it back. And as you can see, as he moves, he's starting from a neutral position and he's coming back into extension, which helps to stretch out the quadricep and also is stretching out the psoas muscle. Now the next stretch we're going to be doing is a stretch for the hamstrings. And as we talked about, the hamstring is the muscle that comes up along the back of the leg. Let's have you go ahead and lift the leg. Comes up the back of the leg and attaches into the ischial tuberosity, which is the lower part of the pelvis. If this muscle is tight, as a firefighter, what's going to happen is it's going to decrease the flexibility of your pelvis and lead towards injuries. So we're going to have Ulysses go ahead and hold the back of his leg. And this is an active stretch where Ulysses is going to be taking his leg and actually kicking it up. So go ahead and kick it up and bring it on down. So this is actively stretching a muscle. Unfortunately, what a lot of people do when they're stretching their hamstrings, and what you do not want to do, is a lot of people will stand and bend over and touch their toes, which is not good for your disc. Or people will do a stretch where they're actually sitting and reaching. Once again, this puts too much pressure on the disc and creates different types of disc issues. So as Ulysses does this, once again he's going to do a kick up, and then he's going to come down. He's going to do a kick up and come down. And as you're doing this, you would want to do 3 sets of 20 on each leg. The next exercise we're going to perform is an exercise for the lower abdominal muscles. And as we mentioned, the abdominal muscles actually come down and attach to the pubic symphysis, which is a bone in the front part of the pelvis. So what we're going to have Ulysses do is we're going to have him bring his legs straight up. And this exercise, as he performs this, all he's going to be doing is using his lower abdominal muscles to lift his legs straight up. So go ahead, Ulysses, let's go ahead and lift up. And then we're going to come down. And we're going to lift up. And we're going to come down. So as he performs this exercise, this is hitting the lower abdominal muscles. And one great thing about this exercise is that he's lying on his back as he does this, so it helps to stabilize the back and prevent lower back injuries. This next exercise is called the plank. And as you see, we have Ulysses coming up onto his elbows and come up onto your toes there. And as Ulysses comes into this position, you're actually using your transverse abdominis muscles. Now, as he holds this position here, he's keeping his stomach muscles tight, kind of like someone's going to hit him in the stomach, so he's keeping them very, very tight. Now, as firefighters, it's very, very important to have strong rectus abdominis muscles, because as these muscles come around, they actually attach into the thoracolumbar fascia that comes in and supports the lower back. So as a firefighter, if you're jumping out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and you have to jump on the truck, you have to have strong muscles here, as well as if you're carrying a ladder or pulling a hose, those movements actually use or incorporate the abdominal muscles along with the back muscles at the same time. Now, as we do this exercise, one thing Ulysses is going to do, and you might not be able to see this on film, but what he's doing is he's going to be slowly pulling his stomach or his belly button up to his spine and then releasing it, and pulling up and releasing it, which helps to strengthen these transverse abdominal muscles, which once again strengthens the abdominal muscles as well as helps to support the lower back muscles too. This next exercise is an exercise for the lower back muscles. This is called the lower back or the lumbar extension exercise. As you can see, Ulysses, on the beginning one, on the first one we're going to do, his arms are down by his side. And what Ulysses is going to do is he's going to use the strength of his lower back muscles to lift his body up a couple of inches. So go ahead, Ulysses, come on up and then back down. So as he comes up, he's using the muscles along the lower back to lift his body up, which helps to strengthen the lower back muscles. Now, for some of you, this is going to be a little bit easier, so the next step we're going to do is he's going to bring the arms up under his forehead. So as we take the weight of his arms and bring them forward, it makes it harder to do this exercise. So go ahead, Ulysses, come on up. And as Ulysses comes up, and then down, and up, and down. This exercise is so important to do to strengthen the lower back muscles, because as a firefighter, you have a great chance of injuring these muscles when you do your everyday activities as a firefighter. This next exercise is called the scorpion. And on the scorpion, as you can see, Ulysses is laying face down. He has his arms straight out and his legs are coming straight back. Now what he's going to do, and what you're going to see, is he's going to take one leg, he's going to bring it over to his opposite arm, and then he's going to bring it back. So go ahead and bring that over and come back. Now let's do it on the other side. He comes up and over, and he comes back. Now come on up with this one again. Now just explain what's going on here. As he comes over like that, he's strengthening the erectus spinae muscles, the muscles that come down along the lower back, and at the same time he's stretching out his oblique muscles as well as the psoas muscles that come down. So this exercise is actually accomplishing two things. We're strengthening the muscles in the lower back, we're stretching the muscles in the front. Go ahead and go through a couple more reps of that. And over. This exercise is a lumbar extension exercise using a stability ball. So what we're going to have Ulysses do is, you can see he has his feet on the floor and his hands on the floor right now. But he's going to bring his upper body up, kind of like a Superman kind of position. So come on up. And as he comes up, he's extended up using the lower back muscles. And then as he comes back down, he's going into a relaxation. And then he comes back up, once again using his lower back. Now when you use a stability ball, as we're using right here, he has to incorporate balance too, because obviously the ball can shift and move. So what's happening as he performs this exercise, the back part of his brain, called the cerebellum, is firing thousands of electrical impulses down into the erectus spinae muscles as well as the intrinsic muscles. These are the small muscles that attach to the spinal bones or the vertebrae down in the lower back. So this exercise here is a big one to help strengthen and stabilize the lower back and prevent injuries as firefighters. This exercise is a bridging exercise where we're using the stability ball, and right now Ulysses has both of his feet up on the ball. He's going to actually flex his pelvis, so go ahead and bring your pelvis up, Ulysses. He brings his pelvis up so he's coming across nice and straight. Now the key to this exercise is what he's going to do is he's actually going to lift one leg off the ball, and as he lifts one leg off the ball he has to use stability of his spine to catch balance, which helps to strengthen all the core muscles along the lower part of the back. So go ahead and lift one of those legs up. And as Ulysses is doing this, and as you do this, you're going to notice that it's not as easy as it looks because he's firing so many different muscles from his brain down into his spine and into his abdominal muscles to keep this balance. Now go ahead and bring that leg down and lift the next one up. Now when you're doing this exercise, you're going to be going back and forth from one leg to the other. And go ahead and go into the next one. And Ulysses is going to show you the speed that you should do it at. Come on up and go ahead and go from leg to leg. Very good. And come on up. Now this is an exercise that's going to help you strengthen and stabilize a lot of muscles along the spine as well as into the front part of the pelvis. This is an exercise that's going to help you as you throw a ladder up against a building to stabilize your spine. Because as you take that ladder and you're shifting it really quick, your spine has to go through a lot of quick movements. And if you don't have stability of your spine, it's very easy to injure your spine. This exercise is called the single leg lift and chop. And what Ulysses is going to do, he's holding a medicine ball right now, which is a weighted ball. You could also use something like a 5 or a 10-pound dumbbell. Now what you're going to see Ulysses do is he's going to first balance on one leg, and he's going to start with the leg down by his left leg, and he's going to bring the ball up over his head towards the right side, and as he does that he's looking at the ball. So what's happening as he does this, he's only on one leg, the weight's transferring from one side to the other, which throws the balance of his body off. As he throws the balance of his body off, the back part of his brain, once again the cerebellum, has to fire electrical impulses down along the spine to stabilize his spine. This exercise, as you do this, it might look easy, but it's very difficult to do, and it really helps to stabilize the muscles along the spine and help prevent injuries. And once again, as a firefighter, there's a lot of awkward things that you have to do where you have to have strength of these stabilizing exercises to prevent injuries. So once again, Ulysses is coming up. He's coming down, he's balancing on one foot as he does this, and as you can see it's very easy to come off balance, and Ulysses does this on a regular basis. Now obviously right now he's doing it from the left side and coming up over the right shoulder. After you do this, you want to go the opposite side. You're going to find as you go from side to side it gets very, very difficult. This next exercise is what's called a lunge to balance. So it's going to be a forward lunge and then back to a balanced position. So go ahead Ulysses, come on and go forward. So as he lunges forward, now he's going to come back up and he goes into a balance. So once again you go forward into a lunge and you come up into a balance. Now as he goes into the lunge, he's actually strengthening his leg muscles, and as he comes back into a balance, he has to coordinate and balance. And as he coordinates and balances like this, this is incorporating balance of your ankles, your knees, your hip and your pelvis, and your spine all at the same time. Once again go forward, goes into a flexion, comes back up, back into a balance. This is something that's going to help you, especially as a firefighter, if you go into an environment where all of a sudden it's hard to see and you have to negotiate different types of ground. Come back up. Very good. So this one here is both strengthening and stabilizing not only of your legs but also all the different core muscles and stabilization muscles along the spine to help prevent injuries as a firefighter. In closing, we've reviewed many different types of strengthening and stabilizing exercises as well as stretches, which is so important for you to do as a firefighter. Every day you have the opportunity where you're out and you're moving around in different positions and lifting things which can injure muscles. A lot of these exercises that we have done can be done by themselves, or you can incorporate it into the exercises that you already do. Once again, this is Dr. Frank Lombardozzi coming to you from Fire Rescue TV.